Speak again.
Mic
check.
check. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. All right. Welcome back to the Catch Up, episode 3. Today I have a special guest, Dr. Hiza Mbwana.
Yep.
Mbwana.
Perfect.
We're here at RedZone Fitness, where he practices his physical therapy. And introduce yourself.
You already introduced me.
It's true.
Pretty
It's
good.
true.
Well, I'm Dr. Hiza. I'm a physical therapist. I've been in practice for about 12 years. And I originally started out in outpatient physical therapy at a big physician-owned practice. And then after about 6.5 years of that, I decided to start my own practice. So I have an out-of-network physical therapy practice up in Gaithersburg now, and I work with coaches and trainers specifically, and then kind of combining performance and rehab simultaneously. So it's been a really good fit for me to be in this space, which is a little bit non-traditional. So it's more of a private studio gym rather than a traditional clinic where you have your hot packs and ultrasound and all that. This is more of there's barbells and dumbbells and kettlebells and oh my.
Yeah, definitely for today. I really want to get into like how we just like met and how organic you are. You were telling me prior to recording how you really want to be less of a seller in terms of your practice versus just, hey, I have the secret. Give me $400. I'll fix you.
Yeah,
that kind of shady stuff.
Yeah, it's been a long journey starting your own practice. Nothing's easy. I'm sure you can appreciate that.
Definitely.
I think one of the reasons we do what we do is the independence that comes with that, the autonomy that comes with that. So I vividly remember when I decided to start my own practice. So prior to that, I just wanted to do a little bit of reconnaissance. So I reached out to a couple of providers in the area and kind of asked them if they would be willing to, grab a coffee with me and chat and, kind of school me with some stuff, some pitfalls to look out for. And I was very disappointed when not one, not two, not three, but all four told me that they charge for their time, and for me to shell out $200, $300, $400 an hour for their time, it was just not something that one, I didn't have the money.
Right.
Two, I didn't know who they were, so I didn't know their reputation. I didn't know who they were, but I was really disappointed because I looked at them as colleagues who were doing something big, who were doing something, monumentous, and for them to kind of turn around and throw that roadblock in my way was really disappointing. However, it led to a lot of self-learning and self-discovery and I mean, not to say that there was nobody that assisted me, but it was just really difficult. My journey is a little different than most because most of it was really on-the-job training. There was no parachute. I didn't have like a part-time gig where I was working somewhere else and doing my thing. I just went cold turkey.
Put all in.
Just put it all in. There was no parachute. I jumped out of a perfectly good airplane with no parachute.
Sometimes that's what you gotta do.
And that was it. So I didn't look at those experiences as. It took me a while to kind of look at those experiences as positives because it really did help me open my eyes to learning that that's not the way I want to do things. So when it came down to meeting and collaborating with other people, I tend to be a little bit more transparent and open and willing to learn. And so it's been a really fun journey to see that process kind of come full circle. And so now I get to meet people like you, Bryan. I get to meet clinicians and coaches who look to come hang out with me to learn what I'm doing and how my process is different. And so it's kind of it's been very It's been very good. It's been a really good experience to see how much, just by giving yourself and opening your time and being available to other people, how much more productive and how much more success that brings your way rather than being so guarded.
Gotcha. Yeah, definitely. I just want to put in context, like, I don't know if I actually told you the way I found you too.
You didn't tell me.
I did. I did. Okay.
I remember I just got a DM from you, and that was it.
Yeah, exactly.
That was it.
I think it was like on a random Sunday. I think I was watching football, but at the same time, I was trying to build my own personal training clientele. But then I always got a lot of injuries from my clients saying like something hurts, but I had no clue about that. Like me as a powerlifter, all I know is how to get stronger, and then I know in getting stronger, I got hurt every now and then, or I got really sore that prevented me from getting stronger. But then me being 25 years old, I thought I'm just young. But then I also have clients who are 50 years old, 27, and they're all in that range of people getting hurt.
Yeah.
I think I literally just typed in. I think I just typed in either physical therapy would make sense. But it was either like bodybuilding or powerlifting or injuries, something like that.
Uh-huh.
And on Instagram as a hashtag, and then I found like local pages. There's like a section for that, and I saw one of your videos, and it just like really resonated with me. Like it was just simple music. It didn't really go really in depth on how to do things. So it wasn't like really trying to give you everything, like tell you like your whole secret, even though it's a simple movement. But it got me. And then I looked at your entire page and I just saw like the collection of work that you were doing. So then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna shoot this guy a DM like, hey, do you wanna like shoot the shit, really? And just like, hey, just talk about how'd you do your things, or how do you know the things you know? And I definitely want to like recollect our first encounter, because that's another thing that I will always remember, that I came in here and I felt like I asked like the dumbest questions. I
didn't think so, but
no.
Hey, that's on you. I didn't put that out there. No, I mean I think one of the funniest things that happens though when I do meet people is that believe it or not, I end up learning a lot more from those encounters, and I end up I feel like it's a very selfish thing, because I feel like I take away a lot more than I'm able to provide, because I'm like, I'm just a physical therapist who just kind of hangs out in a studio gym, and he just does his own videos, and he just shoots these videos. For people to find that stuff interesting, for people to find that that what I'm doing is fascinating, or what my process is fascinating, it's still very it's humbling, but it's also still very strange to me, because there was no formal training with that. It was just I think it's just, if you are passionate about something and you have a deep dedication to it, I think your personality is going to kind of come through with that. And if you're a genuine person and if you genuinely care about what you're doing, I think that comes through as well. But it's always very strange whenever I meet people who want to meet me. I'm like, I'm just a regular guy. Yeah, I'm just a regular old PT guy who just talks a lot of rehab, and he has a lot of passion for that. So it's very humbling, and I do remember when we first met was we almost did like it was almost like an impromptu like session as well, right? Like we talked about like biomechanics, and we talked about like all this stuff, but I think what I remember the most, or my takeaway from that first encounter, was just how astute you are from a business standpoint, but also how astute you are from a student standpoint. I think that we should all always be students, and always be in that mindset that at any given moment you can learn something, and you don't know it all.
Exactly.
And I think that when you have that kind of attitude and that mentality, when you bring that to your business, I think your business flourishes because then you're never stagnant, because you never just stick to what you know.
Right.
Because if you do that, you're basically closing off any other opportunities to learn something new. And I think that was my biggest takeaway from our encounter initially, was how motivated, but also how much of a student you were when it comes to personal and professional development as it relates to your craft. And so I don't know. Like I said, I always take away a lot more. You showed me a whole bunch of stuff, and I learned a whole bunch of new techniques and tools that I can incorporate in my videos. So now they're a little bit more entertaining, I think.
Yeah,
I think I'm taking the entertainment level to the next.
I think that was it. That's how you got your clients. Like, just take the entertainment, to the next level, just a little bit
the
more.
Entertainment value to the next level.
So hey, I like watching this. It's informative and I'm learning. That's exactly what I'm looking for.
That's why I changed it up a little bit. So a lot of my videos used to have. So believe it or not, when I first started, I didn't have any audio. There was no audio to my videos.
I can believe that.
And then then I went to the next phase where I included audio, and then now I just kind of sometimes I'll include audio and sometimes I won't. I think it depends on
your content,
on the content, but also sometimes you just want for people to just kind of look at the video and look at the movement and not be distracted by anything else.
Right, I understand that.
And then sometimes, it's kind of nice to have a beat behind it, because I think you'll have to kind of play around with that, because social media is just that. It's ever evolving, and I think the hardest thing with social media is kind of staying on top of what the trends are, what's happening right now. And I think that certainly audio is important, but I feel like just being genuine and putting out content as organic as you can tends to be a lot more of a favorable thing. It's a lot more. That's what's in right now.
Right.
Before, it used to be like this high production, and you had to get your font on point. you had to get those visuals and those intros on point.
Right.
And that kind of slowly faded away, and then now you're getting a lot more organic content where people are talking in a setting like this, or talking to the camera, to the masses, and they're not in their 3-piece suits anymore. They're just hanging out, they're lounging. It's casual. And it tends to be a lot more organic, and it tends to get people more interested in learning more about what they're up to.
The biggest thing that I really want to I think it would help both of us is being so genuine. And I feel like in promoting what I really want to promote in terms of myself and in terms of what I'm doing with the videos is it's not I keep saying mental health, but it's mindfulness. Just being aware of what you're doing and what's going on around you, and just trying to set yourself up for success.
Yeah. For
limiting distractions, so there's nothing else but success.
Yeah.
Path.
Well, I think it's hard, and I think that's the hardest thing. It's social media is a double-edged sword like that, because sometimes it will have you thinking that you're not successful, that you're not doing what you need to be doing. And I think the fallacy is that we tend to base our failures on others' success, right? Does that make sense? So we look at oh man, they got X number of views, or they're doing this content, I must suck.
Right.
But it's very
it's perspective.
It's very important. Yeah, I feel like it's very important that anyone who's getting into this, into social media and content building, realize that yes, there are going to be other people who are doing things that are different and doing it better, but it doesn't indicate, or it doesn't mean that you are failing.
Right.
It means that your process is different.
Yeah.
And I think the more you can differentiate your process, the better. The more you can create these different, sub-tiers in your practice model and your business model, the better. But I think we tend to only fixate on very minute, we tend to get in the weeds when it comes to measuring other success and our failure.
Right.
And that's kind of it's a tough lesson to learn, and it's a tough thing, especially with social media. You want to be liked.
Yeah, you want to be liked. Definitely. I just want that double tap.
Yeah.
Or the thumbs up.
Everybody wants to be liked, but I think sometimes when you don't get the feedback, the intended feedback that you had, especially when you're like, man, this one is going to get them. This one's going to be fire.
Because you always have the perspective, like, this is the best content. This is going to change the world.
Yeah.
But then you get, like, no one watching.
Yeah.
Like, I thought this would be awesome.
Yeah. And then, of course, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm always going to blame the algorithm, you know, the algorithm's fault.
Yeah, I gotta find another medium to put my content out.
Yeah, it's the algorithms. They keep changing them up and screwing us up. So, but yeah, I mean, I think we all have an obligation to be, open-minded and be welcoming when people are interested in what we do, because I look at it as a compliment because it is. I mean, it wasn't like I just put stuff up online. It was deliberate.
Right.
You put stuff online for recognition.
Yeah, exactly.
So, it's really humbling though when people actually like recognize it, and then not only do they recognize it, but they want to also appreciate or understand your process as well. So,
I think it's really like that gratitude that I feel like I really just related with you. That I could see that you were going more for depth in terms of trying to reach people versus just getting a wide audience with like flashy, sparkling fireworks in the background. Look at me, that kind of stuff.
Look at me, yeah.
That flashy, go get 'em stuff.
I know. I have I always get dinged on that. A lot of my colleagues are always like, "Yeah, you should do more of that, like flash." I'm like, but for me, that's just not my personality.
Right.
I'm very low key. I'm very laid back.
I think that's another thing because your content reflected you.
Yeah,
like
I hope so.
Really tell, but yeah, it actually does. Like now when I think about it, because like you said, like sometimes you don't want to put audio, but then sometimes you can get like from me speaking to you for this past year. Sometimes I can get, like if I wasn't super interested in what you were talking about, it could sound really dry and bland because you're very like scientific.
Yeah,
you're really about the results, the studies, and whatnot.
Yep.
And then like me on the other hand, I'm very like emotional. Not in terms of like a soap opera, but like I'm really up and down.
Yeah.
If you catch me on like a joke, all right, I'm good. Just keep rolling with it. Yeah. But then if you catch me like in a long lull of statistics, and I'm like, are we done yet?
Crickets.
Can I like start running or do jumping jacks?
Exactly.
Like 5 jumping jacks, I'll be right back.
And I think that's that is something that one of the reasons why I appreciate working with such a diverse group of people is that yes, I am very scientific, and yes, a lot of my I would say all of my content there's purpose to it and there's rationale to it. It's not just like just throwing up a bunch of stuff and hoping something sticks. But I also appreciate that not everyone has to speak my language to appreciate my content. Right, and that's partly why I don't talk on my videos. I don't.
Yeah.
One, because it's hit or miss. Right. Some people are going to really dig it.
Yeah.
If you are a physical therapist, you're probably going to be more interested in what I have to say about a particular movement.
Right.
Because I'm probably going to be speaking your language.
Mm-hmm.
However, the videos, the audience or the target audience is not the physical therapist. It's people in my community,
right?
People
it's
who
people
who need the assist,
assistance.
And for me, that's partly why I don't talk as much on the videos.
Okay.
I try to do even with the text. I try really hard to keep it as minimal as I can. Because it's just like one. I feel like if you do too much, then you're wasting a lot of time because it's a very short amount of the attention span is so quick.
I think I read something in a study like the common like attention you can get on social media on your post is about 5 seconds.
Yeah,
and they're relating it to a goldfish which has 6 seconds.
Yeah,
attention. I was like, wow.
Yeah. But imagine, like I see. There are a lot of posts that have really good content, but it's just like it.
Sometimes overwhelming.
Sometimes it's overwhelming.
Like,
if I've got to scroll if we've got to scroll and scroll down to 2 or 3 times on an Instagram post, that's, I mean, to me, as if I put myself in a patient's position or put myself in a potential client's position, I feel like, one, a lot of the verbiage is over my head or could potentially be over my head.
Okay.
But also, like, by the time I read or by the time I get to the bottom of that, I've already forgotten the top.
Right. I understand that.
But then also, like you said, the average time spent on an IG post is 5 seconds, maybe
at
less
most.
at most. And so, but think about how long it takes you to type something up like that.
Yeah, it takes a long time.
Yeah, it takes a long time.
I do that too.
Yeah, 30 minutes, 40 minutes sometimes, and for 5 seconds of bursting through it,
you don't get
like you. I feel like I can find other things I can find other ways to use that time to maximize my efficiency. That's why I don't do a lot of, I don't add a lot of text, and I also don't do a lot of talking on the vids.
Okay.
Because everyone's different too. Everyone responds to that stuff differently. Some people are visual learners, some people are auditory, some people are just straight up verbal.
Yeah.
But I feel like movements, when you show people movements, it's really interpretation.
Right.
And everyone has a different interpretation because everyone comes in at a different point.
Yeah.
And so it's not my job to legislate what you should be feeling, because that's going to change from person to person.
Right. For someone like me, if I'm having a good day or bad day,
right,
it could depend how I feel in that movement.
Correct.
Whether I have that motion or not.
Correct. And if I always put in those videos, like, you should feel this, and you should feel this, and you should, and if you don't feel that, then it's going to drive you even more crazy. Because you're like, there's something wrong with me.
Am I broken?
Right.
I don't know.
Right, exactly. So that's why I don't add a lot of extra content, because it's really, we all have an opportunity to feel something unique.
Right.
And we all have an opportunity to feel something that's very specific to us and our makeup.
Okay.
And it's my job as a physical therapist to interpret that information, right? How are they feeling about these movements? Do they have positive feelings about this? Do they have negative feelings about this? Or is it in between?
Yeah.
Because that's really at the heart of a lot of why people come see me.
Right.
Like, most of the time, it's very rare I get a patient that comes in and says, hey, I'm trying to be proactive and reduce my rates of injury to my shoulder, so I'd love to pay for your services and figure out what I need to do so I can stay healthy and continue doing what I'm doing. That's very rare.
So, well, speaking on that,
that's my goal, though.
I want to talk about something here. So I have a theory with these videos that I'm making. Now I'm marketing them on YouTube and Facebook.
Okay.
So this is the point where I feel like as a teacher, as a physical therapist, as a coach, as someone who teaches something or tries to train someone to do something, this is the format where you speak like a personality. Because I'm sure you found this, like me as a personal trainer, that you're not only teaching them how to do a certain movement or teaching them how to get stronger, or teaching them how to get fitter. They also, you have a personality.
Yeah.
Like, someone may choose you over me because they don't like a lot of talking.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can talk a lot, or sometimes I can talk about dumb things.
Welcome to the club.
Exactly. So I think this is the point where I kind of want to just talk about you as your personality.
Sure.
Because I've brought in a couple of my clients to work with, and there's some traits that you have that I really want to talk about.
I don't know where he's going with this, but
I see you on Facebook. Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah.
You're a big fan of it. I've never watched it.
Yeah.
But I've been hearing more and more things about it.
You should watch it. I think my style, or my patient interaction style, is really I really try to get, or I try to tap into what
you have, like a sarcastic
patients,
and then like up and down sense of humor. Like, you could be in the middle of explaining a certain movement to me, and I'm like, oh, that's very interesting. But then you can make a joke.
Yeah.
Like a second later, I'm like, oh, that caught me off guard.
Was
but
that was
funny. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm working on modulating my voice enough so that that segue is a little bit more apparent. But yes, my humor is very sarcastic.
Okay.
And I think it stemmed from, when I was a student.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the ways I diffused a lot of my insecurities working with, total strangers, and and being the only person that didn't look like, that was the minority and that didn't look like anybody else there.
Yeah.
I went to school in New England where I was the only black. I was the only person of color, but I was the only black male in the class.
Okay.
We started out with 120 or 130, and we graduated about 50 or 54.
That sounds like boot camp.
Yeah. So,
exactly like boot camp.
But that's been my life. I mean, all my life. I mean, moving here, I moved here from a different country altogether. I grew up in upstate New York, where and most people didn't look like me, but I also got the opportunity to.
You were born in New York?
Nope, I wasn't born. I was born in Tanzania.
You were born in Tanzania. Then you moved to New York.
Then I moved to upstate New York. Yeah, Central New York, Ithaca, New York.
Okay.
And that's where I learned how to be
some street smarts.
Yeah, but also how to be empathetic.
Okay.
And how to kind of feel people out for differences in personality and see.
Yeah.
But then that's also where I learned that sometimes you just have to do it your way, and you don't have to feel everybody out. If you just do it your way, it's up to them to feel. Because one of my favorite artists is Jadena, and one of his songs is that.
What genre is that?
It's like hip hop soul kind of.
So okay,
yeah.
Okay.
One of his songs is one of the lyrics is like people are gonna feel some kind of way about you.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter, whether you got the best tie on or the sharpest glasses or the flyest shoes. Some people are gonna feel some way about you.
Right.
Regardless of what all of. So you can't really hope that you can't be everything to everyone.
Exactly.
And so I think that's kind of where my personality comes from. My humor is very sarcastic. It's very, but I also try to time it so that I'm not always cracking jokes the whole time. But
I can see it. Like in your head, you have like a timer. Joke coming in
almost,
5, 4, 3, 2, go.
Sometimes it can be off-putting for a lot of my patients because I'm not really anticipating that.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Because at first you come off very professional. I mean, which you should be, but then
I try to be.
But then there's always that balance, and I always find that interesting. And I love talking to other coaches or people who teach things because you need it.
Yeah, I mean, I think
it's like in movies. Yeah. Like I think of have you ever did you see the Batman vs Superman?
Yeah, I did. Yep.
You know how it was like so serious the entire movie? It kind of threw me off. Like I needed some like comedic humor somewhere in there.
Well,
that's what the biggest critics were.
But the reason why I like Curb is because Larry David, his humor is very, 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 very dry to the point, but also, I mean, they call him the social assassin because he consistently breaks all the rules, and he'll be in a situation where the normal response is not to say anything, and he will say something. Along the lines of, something like, what's a good example? For example, cutting in line. It's a social moray, but for him, if one of the episodes was like the guy had already been in line, but he's going back for seconds, and so he's trying to cut in front of the line and get what he wanted,
right?
And the people at the beginning or the top of the line were trying to kick him out and have him go all the way back to the beginning.
Right.
And Larry David steps in and he goes, "No, that's wrong.
Yeah.
The man has already had his first. If you do not wait in line for seconds. You don't wait in line for seconds." Which again, I mean, it's stupid, it's funny, but it's also like it's social commentary. Like that happens often. But it doesn't happen to it's not usually that magnified,
right?
But there's usually like that weird social interaction that you tend to get, and that up and down will typically be the case, and so that's usually what I experience.
I
And
see.
That's kind of where my humor is, and that's kind of how I'm supposed to go.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm looking for Kibia.
That's me. Yep.
Oh, it's you.
Yep.
Are you Hiza?
I am. Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
We'll get started in just a second.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Yeah, you can just have a seat right there.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
I just want to say that it reminded me of a story that I saw from. Have you heard of Simon Sinek?
Yes.
Yes. I heard one of his TED Talks. The I guess it's like the cost of opportunity. It's a similar story to that. Like after you finish a race, he was talking about he and his friend. There were like free bagels.
Yeah.
His friend said, "There's a line. I don't want to wait in the line." But Simon said, "Free bagels."
Yeah.
And then again, his friend said, "There's a line. I don't want to wait." And just making excuses. So Simon just cut the entire line, even though like he didn't get his first yet, but he just grabbed in the box, grabbed 2 bagels, walked out. He didn't get his pick of the choice, but he got it, and no one in line said anything because I think he's talking about you're allowed to get what you want, but with the consequence of you might not get your
the
choice.
choices. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very simple. It's right along those lines. But I think for me, that's kind of what's interesting about my practice style too, is that I try to make it a little bit more less sanitized, and just try to be a human being. And I think I learned that from one of my first clinical instructors, was just treat your patients like if it was your brother, your cousin, your sister, your mom, your grandparents, whoever, depending on relevance, but just treat them like your
friend.
They're your family or your friend. And I think that's what I try to do. I hope my friends tolerate most of my jokes. they put up with me quite a bit. So, but I feel really fortunate though that I've had the opportunity to kind of experience both sides, right? So,
Gotcha.
Super clinical setting, and then now, which is a little bit more laid back, still a clinical setting, but we try to incorporate so many different
incorporate your personality, just
aspects,
you being genuine Hiza.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt to own your own business too, because then you can really
You have the control.
you can be what you want to. You can do it the way you want to do it, but also I think it allows me to provide the kind of care that I feel all my patients deserve, which is my time, my undivided attention,
Right.
as opposed to it being divided by 3 or 4 other patients, and and trying to figure that out and work through that, and also being able to provide 10-15 minutes of my time where now I can spend as much time as I need to with each patient. So that's definitely allowed me to be a little bit more of myself.
Yeah, you don't have the construct of having a corporation.
Yeah, it allows me to do that, but also allows me for projects like this. I can really kind of put myself out there and be in a situation where someone else can ask me questions about stuff. So it's like a reverse PT visit.
Yeah, and I feel like it's like it's almost like what's it called? What am I thinking about? Like psychiatry? Not psychiatrist. Like physical. Not physical. What am I thinking about?
I don't know.
When you talk to a shrink, that's all I can think about.
Consultation.
I know. I feel like as a trainer or as a therapist, like sometimes we need to I don't know, decompress.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think that's
Just talk
part
about
of
the fun stuff that we do or the dumb stuff we do.
I think that's part of the allure for me of being in this space now. Is I get to work with trainers and I get to work with coaches and of so many different backgrounds. I work with gymnastics, CrossFit, tennis, jiu-jitsu, MMA, you name it, and
Get a mixed bunch of people.
Ollie lifts, whatever, but you get to interact and meet so many different people who bring so many different
things to the table.
So,
new concepts are always, like you said, always learning. Take it back to the beginning.
And that's it. And that's the key, is that always be willing to learn something.
Yeah.
And I feel like all these visits, you coming here, I mean, I feel like, again, I learned more hanging out with you than I hope what you take away from me, because I feel like it's just something that I do because I enjoy it, because I think it's important that other people learn that it doesn't have to be so cut and dry and so sanitary. It can be a little bit more, much more fun and much more interactive than a lot of us
really think about. because I think when I first started getting into like physical therapy, like wanting to get more involved in it, I went to like I think around here was ATI.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I went there, they had the same impression, or the same impression they gave you. Like, you have to pay to do this, or to check out this, or you have to actually do it yourself. And I'm like, I don't necessarily need it at the moment, but I don't want to be at the point where I actually need it and have to go through it.
Well, that's a kind of that's been our biggest mission here, is to really kind of work with the current clients that we work with and patients that we work with, and really drive that home, that being more proactive about things rather than reactive about conditions is a better bet, and also ensures that you spend a lot less time hanging out with people like me, and you get to enjoy doing what you want to do. So I think that's been one of the biggest gifts for me, and that was an unanticipated reward for me. But seeing that we can create an opportunity for people to get better and be more educated about performance and fitness and health and overall well-being has been a really big transformational thing for my business. But I think it wouldn't have been anywhere near as robust as if I hadn't had the opportunity to connect with people like yourself and all the other various coaches and trainers. So again, I feel like I'm receiving more out of this than you guys, but you know what? It's all perspective.
I try to provide my content too.
right. So, and I really appreciate your time, man.
So let's wrap it up. Let them know if where to find you, like a website, your IG handle.
You can find us online. So I've got a website, www.kimbiaphysio, KIMBIAPHYSIO.com, or on Instagram hashtag or at kimbiaphysio, KIMBIAPHYSIO.
Cool. I will definitely have you on again.
I'm looking forward to it.
What I forgot was I want to talk about Kimbia Physio. I never knew the meaning behind that either. We'll save that for next time.
Now we have an opportunity for another episode.
Catch up part 2.
Yeah.
Episode, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, they'll go for that. Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Man. Appreciate it.
Next time.
Yep.